Good evening, race fans, and welcome to yet another race here with Velocity Racing League for the 2022 Cup Series. We are here today at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Magic Mile 200. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today, 1080p, 60 frames a second. I hope that you all are excited and ready for the action here tonight at just over this mile in length track. New Hampshire, another pretty flat track that we're going to see here today. A lot of great racing that we are going to see, similar to what, well, I didn't get to see, but that you folks all get to hopefully what saw last week at Dover Motor Speedway, where Jaden Hopp coming home with the win, James Miller in second, Howie Briss taking home that third place spot. In our season standings, top 7, not much has changed throughout the field since the last time that I was here covering an event here with the Velocity Racing League. So, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get started into today's action. We have qualifying currently underway here. We're looking at Tony Hilbrands make his way around the track here, currently putting himself into that third place spot. Here we have Howie Briss, Jaden Hopp, both of these drivers who saw themselves in the top 3 last week at Dover, also going to find themselves in the top 3 this week. Same situation for these guys. All they got to do is stay consistent. In a track like this, it's all going to come down to who is maintaining those tires, who is staying consistent and saving those tires as much as humanly possible. So, as a few other drivers are still making their way around the track here, again, Howie Briss, Jaden Hopp, Tony Hilbrands all taking our top 3 spots here. And look at this, Jaden Hopp, 1/100 of a second. 1/100th of a second behind Howie Briss at this time. That is phenomenal for Jaden Hopp here. So there's going to be a tight battle there for that first place spot between those two drivers. I do have a feeling Tony Hilbrands also up there in the mix. Nicholas Lovell as well in that 4th place spot here. He's going to put himself just 16.16 seconds behind 3rd place driver Tony Hilbrands. So we got a pretty tight field here, and especially here at New Hampshire, where things could get pretty dicey pretty quickly. I mean, just like we saw there, I'm not sure exactly. I looked away for 1 second, it seemed like, in Logan Jones. It might have just been getting out of the way out of the track there. Matthew Fitz, 69 Sparkle Unicorn, not looking like he's having a great qualifying run here, as it looks like he's going to be missing that front right tire. Hopefully not going to affect him too much in the race here tonight, as drivers will have a fresh vehicle starting at the starting grid in today's race. Currently looking at Charles Jurek, the number 76 machine, currently 13th on the grid, and as he comes across the line, he pulls off a little bit of a better time this time around, but not quite able to break Michael Keithley, the 53 driver, of his 12th place spot there. So Charles Jurek looking like he's going to start 13th once the checkered flag has flown here for our qualifying session. And wow. James Miller here, the 09 machine, looks to be possibly the same situation that we just saw a little bit earlier with Matthew Fitz. Might have possibly made contact with the wall just a little bit there. But either way, either how, the 09 machine is going to find himself in that 3rd place spot here tonight. That's going to put him very, very close here to the leaders here on in this race. Now this is going to be, again, 200 miles that we're going to be completing here at New Hampshire, and flat tracks are always a little dicey and can get pretty interesting rather quickly. The low line is basically where we're going to see drivers preferring to stay practically the entire race. You're not really going to see a whole lot of drivers wanting to pass around that outside, if at all. If there are any passes around the outside, it's probably because the driver ahead of you made a mistake and you're able to capitalize on that mistake. But drivers are going to have a little bit of a warm-up session here before we get into our starting lineup for today's race. So I don't know, folks, looking at last week's race, Dover, Jaden Hopp, he led the majority of that race, 122 laps, in fact, is what I am seeing here out of that 200-lap race, as we are now going to go ahead and roll into our starting grid here today. So, seeing Jaden Hopp up here in this starting row, going to be pretty exciting, as well as Howie Briss, the current driver championship leader at this point in time in the season, and has been for quite some time, not really been able to get knocked out of that spot here. But going into the starting lineup of today's race, it's Howie Briss, the number 97 machine, in the inside of your front row. Here on the outside is going to be the 81 machine, Jaden Hopp. In your second row, James Miller on the inside in the 09 machine, with Tony Hilbrands on the outside in the 92 machine. Starting on the inside of row 3, it's Nicholas Lovell in the 37 car, with Benny Hogan on the outside. Patrick Colby going to be in 7th place here today, with Logan Jones in 8th, Max Newworth in 9th, Matthew Fitz in 10th place, Sean Williams in 11th, Michael Keithley going to be in 12th place here today. Moving on down the grid here, Sean Williams in 11th, Michael Keithley in 12th place, Charles Jurek in 13th, Sam Rice going to be in 14th, William Britton in 15th, James Coulibaly 16th, Scott Shire in 17th, Michael Ashmore in 18th, Bill Harkins going to be at the tail end of the field here in 19th. As our field gets ready for that pace car to make its way back into pit road for the green flag to fly for the very first time here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Magic Mile 200, the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. And folks, if you've been tuning in throughout the season, if you've been enjoying the action that you have seen here week in and week out, thank you first of all for tuning in every single week and watching the action and chiming in the chat and letting us know who you're rooting for, so on and so forth. Love to see it. I love to see all the support for all of our drivers and for the league. Great to be here. Great to be calling the action for this great group of drivers. So the lights are going to go off this time around. Once we come out of that turn 4 and onto the front straightaway, it will lead to back to green flag. Well, the start of our green flag run here today at New Hampshire. We can see already drivers bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, trying to get those tires warmed up as much as they possibly can. Get as much grip out of these tires before we drop to the green button. Sometimes doesn't always work in your favor, but we're going to see exactly how that's going to play in favor here for the number 37 driver of Nicholas Lovell. As the green flag drops, and here we go. Heading into turn 1, we can see the 37 machine still down on the inside, obviously here. We're going to have Benny Hogan up on top of him as we come through turns 1 and 2 and out onto the back straightaway. Entire field doing a very nice job coming out of turn 2 there. Just gently working their way up to the wall. Benny Hogan not quite where he wants to be, and he looks to, he was looking for some room there to try and get down onto the bottom line. He's going to fall back just a little bit in that number 5 machine. Meanwhile, just a little bit further back as the front of the field starting to get pretty single file up there, where you've got quite the battles happening here in the midfield. We've also got Don Hilbrands, Marcus Regal saying happy Monday, and hi everyone, how are you? Doing fantastic, Marcus. I hope you're having a great day. We're excited for some racing here today. Velocity Racing League. So far, things are getting pretty well heated up here in the midsection. We've got, looks like, yeah, three deep, 2 wide. You can see the 53, Michael Keithley, able to break away from his side-by-side buddy, if you will, down the back straightaway into turn 3, trying to build up some more momentum here. Patrick Colby going to be the lead of this pack, if you will, sitting in 7th place at this moment. We've got some shuffling happening just behind him. Max Newark, the number 66 machine. Max Newark, one of the drivers that, frankly, we've seen quite a lot from. Definitely not afraid to stick his nose in there and get himself in there. Try and work his way through these fields. Definitely not afraid to get down and dirty if he has to. So really great to see the kind of different strategies, if you will, going into these races. And Max Newark, the 66 machine, is sitting in that 9th place spot. Hasn't moved up or down any position since the start of this race here today. So you're going to be doing a fantastic job just trying to be consistent here. Again, on these flat tracks, you are going to be burning off tires a lot faster than you might think. The more you're burning off those tires in here, you can even see in a little bit how much the drivers are having to turn those wheels. Let's actually ride on board here for just a moment with the helmet camera of Scott Shire in the number 4 machine. You'll see a lot of these drivers here as well. Very easy in, easy out. You don't want to heat those tires up more than you already have to. The faster you're trying to get into a turn, the faster you're trying to slow down, the more you're going to eat away that rubber. And eventually you're going to be finding yourself sliding up onto or into the wall, going out of either turn 2 or 4. But it's only lap 6 of 200 here. Still a lot of racing left to be done. Jaden Hopp currently about a second separating himself and 2nd place driver Tony Hilbrand's the number 92 machine. Tony Hilbrand is going to be up 2 spots from that 4th place position where he started at the beginning of today's race here. He's got Howie Briss right hot on his heels right now, as well as James Miller in the 09 machine. All bunched up here kind of well. James Miller starting to back up there a little bit as he gets a little bit of contact with the wall coming out of 4. So here's a little bit of a wider view of what's going on the field, and we can even take a look at the track map. Not quite representative of where everyone is exactly, but it gives you a rough idea of where kind of all the packs are, if you will. And you can only see the gaps between them, but you can already see it out on the track, especially from this wider view. Definitely starting to see some separation here in a few different spots on the track here. But again, 200 laps that we're going to be completing here. You definitely got to be mindful of how much fuel you're using per lap. When you're going to be planning to come down into pit road to be able to get those new set of tires, fill up on fuel, etc., etc. Do what you have to do to be able to stay competitive in a race like this. So Nicholas Lovell here, he's got a little bit of pressure from Benny Hogan behind him. A lot of these drivers up here towards the front of the field going to be stacked up single file, just trying to click off laps. Just stay consistent. Again, consistency is going to be key. It's going to be your friend. Now, when it comes down to pit strategy, that might not exactly go the way that you plan it to. But it's usually best practice to just stay out as long as you possibly can. Stay as fast as you possibly can. It's a tricky balance. It's a real tricky balance. And you know, that sounds pretty obvious when I say, you know, oh, of course, you know, you have to stay fast, but you also have to manage your tires. That's pretty self-explanatory. But a lot of drivers, you know, once you get into a rhythm, see this, Benny Hogan. Almost a little contact there, it looked like, from that camera angle between the number 5 and the 37 as they went through turn 1 there. Benny Hogan not quite going to make that dive work this time around, but here he goes into turn 3. A successful move here around the 37 of Nicholas Lovell. Out of turn 4, Benny Hogan moved his way up into the top 5. The number 5 machine in 5th place finally After a few lap battle, well, not necessarily a battle, but just a short exchange here with Nicholas Lovell. Now Patrick Colby, the number 9 machine, seeing the same thing happen just ahead of him. He wants to try and make the same thing happen for himself here. 9 down onto the inside through turn 3 here. Nicholas Lovell, he is not quite making it as easy this time. They're going to duke it out side by side onto the front straightaway. Heading into turn 1, but again, on these flat tracks, the inside line is where you want to be to make those passes. It is nearly impossible to make a pass on the outside. On tracks like this, it is extremely difficult. You're almost always going to find yourself spinning out, getting yourself into the wall. It's extremely tough. I think in the time that I've been calling iRacing league races, I don't think I've ever, maybe I have, but I don't quite remember it, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone make a pass around the outside outright on a flat track. I mean, I've seen it happen, in certain situations, someone made a mistake, someone's getting loose, this, that, or the other, but outright battling side by side, it is nearly impossible to make a pass on the outside on a track like this. I would love to see it though. Frankly, I would. I would love to see something like that happen. Here, as we got a more battle happening here. Lap 16 up to, whoa! There he goes, Max Newworth, the 60, just sending it, man. Just absolutely sending it into these turns. He does not, man. And Michael Keithley there, he definitely, great checkup there from the 53 driver. He's keeping himself clean and green here, and it looks like Newworth doing the sportsman-like thing and letting the 53 driver on by, saying, hey, you know what, that was my bad, man. Let's try that again. This time I won't make that mistake. Because that was a pretty rough one, but hey, you know what, he made up for it. He let the 53 driver on by. Michael Keithley's happy. Max Newworth going to have another chance to start back over, and he doesn't feel too bad about it. So, you know what? That's the great thing about sportsmanship here amongst the drivers. It's always great to see. So now, the top 4 that we were seeing kind of pretty close to each other there a few laps ago, probably about 10 laps ago now. It's now James Miller and Howie Briss that are back here in 3rd and 4th place, that are really the only 2 drivers that are, well, actually, as I say that, Tony Hildebrand is starting to reel in Jake Hopp, that number 81 driver. So, we've got some pretty close battles right now as far as strategy goes. As far as who's going to make any passes here, who's going to catch up to who, it's, Hopp. That's exactly what you want to see. If you're Tony Hildebrand right now, seeing that 81 machine just get a little bit loose and start to get unsettled there, that is exactly the opportunity that you're looking for. And for Tony Hildebrand, I mean, that's opening up a whole new can of worms here for the 92 car. But again, the race isn't old. We're not even a quarter of the way. We're not even halfway through the race yet. There's plenty of laps left to blink off here, and there's plenty of opportunities that Tony could make the same mistake. Any of these drivers could, any single one of them. What's really impressive right now is that no one has kind of made any of those critical errors yet. It looks like William Britton may have possibly had a little scuffle there for a minute, but nothing major, no caution coming up, and we're still racing green flag here, lap 21. So ultimately, great racing happening at the moment, and there goes Tony Hildebrand down through the inside of turn 1 and out of turn 2. Onto the back straightaway, it's going to be Tony Hildebrand, the number 92 machine, the Phantom Paint Shop machine here. I hope I said that right. Is it the Phantom? Or Phenom? The Phenom Paint Shop, that's my bad. Tony Hildebrand's a great maneuver there down onto the inside, and that's going to close out Jaden Hopp into second place here. But for Hopp, you know, again, we got to also remember Hopp coming away with a win last week at Dover, leading 122 laps of that race here. Well, there, rather. I don't think he's really going to make this too easy for Tony Hildebrand, and right now it's not looking like it's going to be that easy for Tony, as Jaden Hopp, he's staying right there with him. Not exactly on the bumper, but he's definitely within a car length or two. He keeps... Oh man, he is definitely burning through those tires though. So in fuel window here is about 75 to 90 laps. So I mean, drivers are going to be able to stay out for quite a long time here. They're not exactly going to be planning to come in anytime soon here. But I mean, if these drivers are burning through their tires as quickly as these guys might be fighting for the lead right now, that might change by a few laps. Maybe 5-10 laps. We'll have to wait and see once that time comes around. We might even see a point in time in the race where these two decide, hey, you know what? It's time to chill out. We both need to conserve fuel. We need to save tires if we want to stay relevant in this race and be able to keep up here and keep competing for this lead. Now, once that exchange, once pit stops start to happen, that's when things really can start to kind of shake up a little bit for everyone involved. I mean, we're going to see drivers kind of all over the place start to make their way down into the pit lane, and I don't know, sometimes you see drivers work their way through to the lead just by staying out longer than the rest of the field. So I don't know, interesting things can happen here at New Hampshire, and I am all for it, as we're seeing Scott Shire, Matthew Fitz both side by side here, and as they were working their way through turn 4, looked like Matthew Fitz there a little sideways for just a moment, but again, we're going to see a little bit of that. You know, a lot of these drivers, you're going to see them want to get that car to turn just a little bit, just enough to get that kind of, not necessarily slide, but you want it to kind of glide into the turn, if you will. It's tricky to understand, well, not understand, but it's tricky to explain. But the point is, you want it to slide, but not too much. Lap 28 of 200 here. Tony Hildebrand, Jaden Hopp, both still just kind of stacking it up, bumper to bumper here, turn by turn. So let's go ahead and break down the field right now, or the point standings as they currently are. While we have a little bit of a lull in the action here, while drivers are just kind of, okay, right as I say that. Looks like James Coulibaly, the 22 machine, gets himself off track for just a moment there. There's not a caution coming out of it. No one else involved in this one either. It doesn't seem like anyone else was around it when this one happened. So luckily a lone car incident, but unfortunately for the 22 machine, it's going to come at a cost of a position here. Down one spot from his 16th place start here. He's at 17. Before we got distracted by that here, we're taking a look at our point standings. Now, I mentioned a little bit at the beginning of the broadcast that the top 7 of the championship standings right now have not changed. No one has changed position in the top 7 since last week's race at Dover. So Howie Chris still leading the season right now with 3,321 points. Nicholas Lovell just 112 points behind Howie at this time with 3,209 points in second place. Jaden Hopp in third place with 3,164 points. Sean Williams in fourth place with 3,124 points. And Tony Hildebrand in fifth place with points. That's going to be our top 5 here for the championship right now. We'll take a look at that more a little bit later. We're continuing on with our race here today. Now, really what I'm curious to see here, if it's going to happen at all, who is going to come down early? Who is going to say, you know what, hey, I'm going to try and take the undercut here. Maybe if I come in early enough, I might be able to stay out a little bit longer towards the end of the race and be able to come across the line for the win. Who knows? Sometimes it works. Usually it doesn't. Tony Hilbrand, Jake Hopp, James Miller, all our top 3. Ooh. Looks like a lot of drivers here starting to get a little unstable out of turn 2. A little bit of a wiggle and wobble onto the back straightaway, but we're only about halfway through the fuel window here today. So again, I'm wondering, okay, so we got William Britton coming down into pit lane this time. I don't know if this is so much an early pit stop, or as it's a, hey, you know what, I've got some stuff done, some things and bangs to my car that I probably need to get fixed, worked on, or you know what, hey, I'm not really doing the best right now and I just need to come down. Okay, whoa, we got something going on here. Max Neuwirth, the 66 machine, the driver that, again, we've talked about before, was not afraid to get himself in there, down and dirty. Excuse me for that. That was obnoxiously loud. Let me resolve that for us. We're going to go ahead and back that up because I was a little distracted there for a second. Just a moment here. So, going through turn 1 here. A little bit of a bang and scrape there from the 49 driver, and that's going to collect Michael Keithley to the rear end. Max Neuwirth out of turn 2, sending the 66 machines careening on around here. So, and as I was just talking about pit strategies here, we're going to have all of the field, it looks like, making their way down here into pit lane. Actually, looks like the entirety of the field is going to go ahead and do that. So while they do that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have more of the Magic Mile 200 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Velocity Racing League 2022 Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Good Squad. Welcome back, race fans. It is lap 37 of 200 here from Magic Mile 200. Velocity Racing League 2022 Cup Series. As we come across the line here, looks like we are going to have the 64 machine in the wave around here. That's William Britton in the Ghostbuster 64 car. Gonna make his way around the track and back behind the field here. Again, as the lights are off and we make our way out of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. Once we come out of turn 4, through the Geico restart zone, the green flag will drop. We'll be back to the racing action here today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Flat track offering lots and lots of great racing here tonight. A lot of drivers getting themselves pretty well comfortable this first time around. Let's see what happens this time. Green flag drops here once again, and we are back to racing. And Tony Hilbrand up on the outside line. Not sure if that's exactly the preferred line or the preferred start here actually at New Hampshire, but it seems to have worked out here for the 92 machine as he comes screaming out of turn 2, and we've got a calamity of cars here. James Coulibaly, the 22 machine, getting himself into a little bit of a scuffle, it seems like, back there onto the back straightaway, onto the infield there, but no caution coming of it. The field stays green. We work our way through turn 1 now. It's lap 40 of 200, just about to the quarter way mark here of tonight's race. Hogan, Nicholas Lovell, both duking it out side by side. We've got Howie Briss as well, pushing his way up there into second place. Lovell here trying to do all that he can to keep himself in this top 3. Benny Hogan as well, another talented driver here in the series. Look at the calamity of drivers that we have back here. Charles Jurek, James Miller, Michael Keepley, Max Newer, Scott Shire, Matthew Fitz as well. You can even see Logan Jones back here starting to get up into this pack as well. And Max Newer back up here into the top 10. Probably not where exactly he wants to be, but after having that little bit of a slip up there earlier, be up here racing in the top 10. He's still got plenty of time left, and he is in a good spot still. Oh no, Logan Jones though, not quite the same luck here as he comes out of turn 4. Well, through, he wasn't even out of turn 4 yet. He was still going through it. Got a little bit loose all on his own. No other cars getting involved and no one else around him to bring out the caution either. So the race stays green. Lap 43 of 200 here tonight. The 49 machine, Sam Rice. Down onto the inside, the Sam's Club. Hey, you know what? Sam's Club, I'm speaking of which, I actually just got a membership at a great place. Love it. Anyway, Sam's Club 49 machine down onto the inside of the Valvoline number 5. As we come through turns 3 and 4 and onto the front straightaway here again. Sam Rice across the checkered line here. Still side by side here with Benny and Benny. Man, it's a tough place to be up there. But he has given it everything he's got to battle it out here with Sam. She continues to do the same. gets a little bit of contact there with Benny Hogan and does a great job of recovering it here as well, but now he's got the problem of Patrick Colby and James Miller catching up to him from that little bit of a mistake there, but great recovery there from Sam Rice, and Sam also up 8 spots from the start of the race here today. So fast, well, currently the hard charger of the race, currently up into 6th place. Only got one more spot to go through before he's up into that top 5, which he was just at. But again, some good battles happening up here in this really this top 5 region. Nicholas Lovell currently at the front of this pack here. You can even see James Miller as well trying to get his way around Sam Rice. Benny Hogan trying to keep up with Nicholas Lovell, with Patrick Colby in tow here as well. So here, and if you're looking at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can see the track map. Doesn't exactly show it too well here, but the distance and gaps that we have between our drivers at this moment, you can kind of see it more represented here on the left-hand side of your screen in time. But we've got quite a few different packs working out here at this moment, and a lot of these drivers, again, they're going to be wanting to stay in sort of these single-file groups here as we head up to the one camera here in New Hampshire. Get a little bit of a different perspective here of what's going on down here on track, and just exactly kind of what I mean here by the different packs that we've started to see develop here in the first quarter of tonight's race as we cross the line now. It's lap 51 up 200. Let's have a lap or two and listen to the sights and sounds here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Driving here from Charles Jurek and the rest of the field. Lap 55 of 200 as just ahead of them. We've got some 3 wide action happening as we go through turn 3. James Miller, Benny Hogan, Nicholas Lovell. All 3 of them side by side through turn 4, but onto the front straightaway. It's Benny Hogan, Nicholas Lovell side by side. James Miller getting pushed out a little bit behind. But now it's Lovell that's trapped on the outside line through turns 1 and 2. Able to keep it together coming out of 2, though. Miller still there down on the inside line as we come into turn 3. Doing a fantastic job here, keeping just far enough ahead. James Miller not letting him get that opportunity to close the door on him. Get in front of him here. But Miller here still being on the inside of Lovell. He's got to find something to do to be able to get back in front of this guy if he wants to maintain his spot here, but I don't know if he's got anything in the bag to pull out in this situation. It's either let him pass and try and get down onto the, oh man, here you see Patrick Colby. That's kind of the risk you take here, folks. You know, it's a give and take. It's almost like a game of chess, if you will, but with high-performance race cars. Patrick Colby here, still on the tail of James Miller as well. They are both able to get around Lovell, and I mean, again, for Lovell, it's not the end of the world. Lap 59 of 200, there's still a long race left here at New Hampshire. There's a lot of time left to be had for the rest of this race here. So we got a question here from Don Hillbrand. Jaden Hopp, the 81 machine, all the way back here in 17th here. Now we got a question as to why he's all the way back here at the tail end of the field. It doesn't appear that he was given. Okay. So I have an answer for you here, Don. The reason for the 81 being back here at the tail end of the field here, he was given a black flag for jumping the start. So unfortunately for Jaden, that is going to mean ultimately his race is practically done for at this point. Seeing that black flag is the last thing that you want to have happen to you here tonight, but for Jaden, unfortunately, that is going to be what his fate is. But he's still out here, still clicking laps, so going to see what he can do despite all that. Really tough to see that happen here, though. Right behind Sean Williams. Whoa, buddy. A good recovery there from the 66 driver. Coming out of turn 2, almost loses it. Down the back straightaway, but keeps it together and through turns 3 and 4. Side by side with Scott Shire, the number 4 Fox machine. Charles Jurek and Sam Rice here as well. Side by side here ahead of Sean Williams. And man, oh man, let's actually ride on the nose camera here, or the roof camera here with Sean Williams, and just get an idea of what it's like. Oh man. kind of just trailing along with these two drivers, just staying right in between the draft, if you will. Sticking along with Charles Jurek down on the inside line through the turns, though, but down the straightaways. Seems to be preferring to almost kind of stay right in the middle between them. Here into turn one, just kind of closing that gap, just finding the room. Here he's pushing Sam Rice through turn two, out onto the back straightaway. Sam, he's doing a great job here, just keeping himself up here in this battle. The 49 Sam's Club machine up on top of the 76 Fallout machine. Love to see that too. You know, you can hear Sean Williams, and pretty much as soon as he sees the car ahead of him start to slow down or brake, you hear him lift off that throttle and do the same. And just how quickly it happens, it's amazing. The reaction time that you have to have as a driver is incredible. Got quite the show of drivers here. Let's actually take a moment. I want to look out the rear view of Charles Jurek machine here. We're going to look out the back and look at Sean Williams and Sean Williams, Max Stewart, Scott Shire here. Oh, we're 3 wide through turn 1 and 2. Let's actually take a look at this onto the back straightaway here. Things are getting heated up here. Charles Jurek able to stay out ahead of these drivers just by enough. Sam Rice going to fall just behind Charles here through turn 1. Sean Williams stuck down, well, not necessarily stuck down, but down on the inside of the 66 of Max Stewart. That's going to push him up alongside here now with Sam Rice down the back straightaway. Lap 71 of 200, just about 29-ish laps before we get to that halfway marker here in today's race. Let's go ahead and let's run through the field real quick. We'll start from the tail end, from the last driver that's still clicking off laps here. That's going to be Jaden Hopp, the 81 machine, who unfortunately saw a black flag during the last restart for jumping the start here. Unfortunately, that is going to result in Jaden Hopp going to the tail end of the field here, and I believe that will be the end of Jaden Hopp's race here, but still going to be clicking off laps, just staying out here, just completing the race until the end. 15th place is James Coulibaly, the number 22 driver. He's up one spot from where he started at the beginning of tonight's race here, still clicking off laps here. He's got Michael Ashmore just ahead of him in standings right now in that 14th place spot, but between him and that 14th place spot is about an 8.5 second gap. give or take a few tenths of a second. But for James Coulibaly, still out here, still clicking off laps, still just having a good time as well. And James Coulibaly as well, 7th place in the championship right now, so not exactly someone who's been struggling in the season here. Unfortunately, probably just having a rough race this time around. Again, these flat tracks, not everyone's forte. Definitely takes some practice to get down, and it seems like no matter how much practice you put into these tracks, everything is always kind of just a little bit different each and every single time. Michael Ashmore, the number 98 machine, in 14th place here at this moment during tonight's race. Going to be 13th in the championship standings right now, and is going to be down 1 spot after last week's race at Dover Motor Speedway. And it looks like Sam Rice here, looks like that's going to be the end of Sam Rice's race here today. I think that is going to be we might have had something happen here with Sam Rice. We're going to take a look back here and see exactly what unfolded here between Charles Jurek and Sam Rice. So it seems like somewhere around this point, the 49 driver started dropping down positions like a fly, and I'm not exactly certain what for. It looks like it might have just been there it is, trying to push it out of turn 2 there, so I'm not exactly 100% certain what's going on here. For Sam Rice to fall back all those positions and ultimately decide to call it a race here. He might have even just decided, hey, you know what, that's going to be the end of my race here tonight. Michael Ashmore, 13th in the championship right now at this point in time, and really just having a good time in the season thus far. Doesn't seem not really competing for anything, just ultimately having good races and just enjoying competing in the VRL Cup Series week in, week out. So Michael Ashmore, again, just clicking off good laps and staying consistent and clean throughout the entirety of these races. And so far, this season has done a good job of doing so. Moving on up to Logan Jones here, the number 3 driver. Logan Jones, one of the drivers here that I think hasn't run very often in this series here, but does come out here and put on a good race here when he does. The last time that he's been here, put himself in the top 10 a couple times, so he's been up here competing and doing a good job of that here this race as well. Sitting in that 12th place spot, not even to the halfway point in today's race, so I expect to see that. We're going to see more from Logan Jones, possibly a little bit later towards the end of the night here. Matthew Fitz, the number 69 driver, having had quite an interesting season here thus far. He's put himself into the top 10 4 times, and he's put himself in the top 5 once. Hasn't come away with a pole, hasn't come away with a win yet this season, but we've definitely seen Matthew put himself up here into, kind of been in the midfield Ben All. Ooh, whoa, Logan Jones here. Not, oh man, come on, buddy. Not quite the save that we want to see here for the number 3 driver of Logan Jones, and there goes the caution here. The second one up tonight here, lap 84 of 200. Let's take a look at the Team Goon Squad instant replay. Out of turn 2, and that car just did not want to get settled in that spot, and Logan tried everything he could, absolutely everything he could to keep that thing together, but ultimately it just wasn't enough. Tony Hilbrands, this might not be exactly what he wants to see here, but for James Miller, for Patrick Colby, for Howie Briss, I mean, for all of these drivers that have been chasing this lead spot here for so long, it's now the opportunity to be able to get up there and start competing for that spot, as it looks like drivers now are going to come down into pit lane here after the last time we came in, lap 35. Some drivers going to be opting to stay out here. Jaden Hobb going to be one of them. Going to look to take the lead here this time around, even though Jaden going to be technically down a lap here. See a good view of all the drivers making their way out of pit road. Here we've got the 92 Phenom paint shop machine of Tony Hilbrands currently out in front. Howie Briss in that second place spot. James Miller in third. As the drivers have made their way out of pit lane, they're going to get themselves stacked up behind the pace car once again. As we come across the line, the lights are off on the pace car. Next time out of turn 4, the pace car will make its way back down into pit road and through the Geico restart zone. The green flag will drop here once again. Tony Hilbrands and Howie Briss in your front row, James Miller, Patrick Colby in your second row, Sean Williams and Benny Hogan in your third row. There the pace car goes into the Geico restart zone. The green flag drops. Tony Hilbrands, away he goes into turn 1. James Miller, Howie Briss, only side by side for a moment as the 09 machine tries to find some room down on the inside line, going through turns 1 and 2, out onto the back straightaway. Tony Hilbrand's not leaving any room for James Miller to wiggle his way into, but as we come through turns 3 and 4, there was a little bit of an opening there for the 09 driver, but not quite able to make it work this time around, and hopefully for Tony Hilbrand, he doesn't make that same mistake twice. The 09 James Miller trying everything he can here, and it looks like if he continues doing what he's doing, he might be able to pull it off and make it work for himself here. Very close here between the 09 and the 92. Out onto the back straightaway. They're almost door to door between the two. Heading into turn 3, James Miller, again, he's just playing impatient. Very close to the bumper there. Tony, almost a little bit of contact, it seemed like, but keeping it clean, keeping it together here. A little bit further back, we're looking at Patrick Colby, Max Neuwirth duking it out side by side here with Charles Jurek, Nicholas Lovell. Kind of just trailing along here. Right on board with the roll bar camera of Max Neuwirth there. Oh no, there's trouble. Contact out of turn 2 between Charles Jurek, Max Neuwirth. Lap 93 of 200 here. Michael Ashmore also seemingly involved in this one. Taking a look at the replay through turn 2. Oh man, Charles Jurek, he gets a little bit loose into Max Neuwirth, and man, oh man, Michael Ashmore also nowhere left to go in that situation. That's going to bring out our third caution here today, and while the drivers get themselves reset and ready to go for the next run here, we're going to take another quick commercial break. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more of the Magic Mile 200 of the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Stay tuned, we'll be right back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. welcome back, race fans, to the Magic Mile 200 of the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. We are just about a few laps away from the halfway point in the 200 laps that we are going to be completing here tonight. Tony Hilbrand's having led a majority of the race here tonight after Jaden Hopp had quite the start to tonight's race, but unfortunately finding himself waved a black flag and having to go back to the back of the field here. Ultimately going to be in 14th place here today. But for Tony Hilbrand, it has been mostly the 92 show here tonight, with James Miller starting to give him a little bit of pressure on these last couple restarts. Well, actually this last restart. Let's see what happens now as we go into our second restart now. Lap 97 of 200. Once we come back across the line, it'll be lap 98. Tony Hilbrand, James Miller going to be in your front row. Howie Briss, Benny Hogan in your second row. Sean Williams and Scott Shire in your third row. Or Sean Williams and Patrick Colby, excuse me. Out of turn 4, the pace car going to make that dive down into pit lane. The green flag is up into the Geico restart zone, and down it goes. Tony Hilbrand's just giving himself a nice launch into turn 1. Benny Hogan getting held up a little bit there by James Miller, the 09 machine. Howie Briss trying to find some room through the bottom of turn 1 and 2. Looks like James Miller there trying to break up some of that air, but I don't know if that was exactly what he intended for here. Oh no, he's coming down into pit lane. James Miller, the 09 car, dropping down here into pit road. Lap 99 of 200 after having an incredible run there, battling it out there with Tony Hilbrand for some time. I'm not exactly certain what James Miller is coming down into the pits for. Maybe he forgot tires or something. I'm not exactly 100% certain. Down in pit road for some time, so I'm not exactly 100% certain what he is. Oh, there he goes. He's out of pit road now, but we've got trouble for the 76 driver, Charles Jurek. Almost making contact there with the bottom wall. Well, in the infield there, with the wall down on the infield on the back straightaway. Able to keep it together, Charles Jurek nearly avoiding disaster. just realized I've been talking to myself a little bit for the past couple minutes. To myself, I hope you've all been enjoying the silence of, well, just the race cars going on by during that time. I promise I wasn't ignoring you. But now that I am talking to you lovely folks again, let's get back to the action here. I was just talking about Benny Hogan. Last week, he came away with that 7th place spot at Dover. He's going to be looking to make it a podium finish here this week. Tony Hilbrand's a little bit of a slip up there, it looks like. Coming on turn 2 onto the back straightaway. Keeping it together through turns 3 and 4. You can only spare so many of those before it starts to catch up to you. Right now, again, taking kind of this single file line right now. So we're past that halfway mark, and most of these drivers have already made 2 pit stops here today. As Max Newworth, the 66 driver, he's going to come down into pit road here as well now. Well, the majority of this field, however, has only made 2 pit stops, one during the first caution that we had here around that lap 35 margin, and the second time was during, I believe, the 3rd caution on lap 85. And if you'll remember as well, it was mentioned that fuel window was only 75 to 90 laps, but it's obvious now that it's a lot, well, the pit stop strategy is a lot shorter than that, just simply because of the fact that you're going to be eating through those tires a lot more often. You're going to have to get them changed a little bit more frequently than you would to have to fill up on fuel. Now, we've also got word as well that the number 09 machine, James Miller, has received a black flag as well for jumping the start zone. The 09 machine also going to find himself here towards the tail end of the field. Right now for Howie Briss, you know, one of the things that I really enjoy about this series so far is, you know, Howie here is a perfect example of consistency is what matters in racing more than anything. You know, Howie here has only won a single race here so far this season, but still remains the championship leader, and that's simply because out of the 20 races that he started in, he's able to come away in the top 3 times. He's put himself in the top 5 12 times, and put himself in the top 10 17 times. So 3 races out of the 20 that he's been outside of the top 10. Folks, that just goes to show, you know, you can win a season on just top 10 finishes alone. You don't even have to win that many races, or maybe even not in a race at all. You can take it from Sean Williams, who really is an even more perfect example of this. Sean Williams, 4th place right now in the championship. Not a single win, not a single pole, but has been in the top 5 6 times out of the 20 races he's been in so far this season, and finished in the top 10 17 times. So Sean Williams definitely knowing what he's doing, being able to keep himself up there with the top 10. Just really hasn't had the best luck or chance to be able to get himself up there on that podium yet this season. But still, plenty of races left to go before we see a championship or a driver crowned champion at the end of the season here. Lap 116 of 200. We're taking a look right now at kind of just a different set of drivers here. Well, not a different set, but we're just kind of taking a look through the field here right now and seeing where all of our field currently is right now. Looks like the 37 of Nicholas Lovell, James Coulibaly, both kind of swapping places around here at this moment. Relatively calm though out here on track at this moment, and really the top 5 are some of the closest in the field at this moment as far as time is concerned. And Noah Caution is not out. Just giving the timing tower a moment to update there for a second. Hogan seeing the mistakes that Tony Hilbrands is making the dive down onto the inside. A little bit of a scrape. Nope, no scrape there. Looked like they were both getting very close, door to door between each other. Benny Hogan, though, gets a little bit loose out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. That's going to give the advantage back to Tony Hilbrands. He's going to work his way back up ahead of them. See, oh, man. It's a give and take here at New Hampshire as these drivers continue to fight for the lead. We're going to go ahead and ride on top of the roof camera here with Howie Briss. Let's go ahead and have a couple laps here in New Hampshire along with Howie Briss. love how much you can see these drivers sliding around the racetrack here at this point in time. Now, a lot of these drivers up here on this lead lap right now, well, not on the lead lap necessarily, but in the top 5 and really the top 7, have all been on the same set of tires and fuel for about 40 laps now. So far, it does not appear that we've had a run go longer than that as well. As again, the last time we came in before that was lap 35. The time after that was lap 85. So about 50 laps that we're seeing here. For pit stops here at least. So I'm curious to see when these drivers are going to come back in next time. Probably, oh, Benny Hogan. Oh man, that cost him big time. Benny dropping back into 4th place now. Now it's Patrick Colby and Howie Chris in that 2nd and 3rd place spot. Now these two are going to be trailing down Tony Hilbrand's. Like I was just mentioning, the next time that these drivers come into pit road, it'll probably be the last time that they have to come in, depending on how much they decide to extend it here. I'm going to assume that probably about lap 135, around that margin, is when we're going to see these drivers come down to what will, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that might not even be the last time. On the bottom right-hand side of your screen, where all of the drivers are and where your favorite driver is, if you can pick out the number of their car down here. But if not, it gives you a rough idea of where everyone else is and how the groups have started to form here. We're looking at Logan Jones and Scott Shire, both in 6th and 7th place at this moment, so kind of just outside of that top 5 area right now. But both of them just keeping basically just bumper to bumper with each other, just trying to bring down that gap between themselves and 6th place driver Scott Shire, just ahead of them at this point in time. Jones very comfortable down there on the inside. He's able to make that nice and easy pass around the 4 driver of Scott Shire. It almost seemed like, looked like Scott there may have possibly just let him have that one. Let him get around there without any, not any trouble. Hilbrand saying a big shout out to all the drivers. This is one interesting race here tonight, and I gotta say, yeah, it is. It really, really is. You know, these flat tracks always kind of pose a unique challenge every single night. You know, it's never the same race, I feel, with these flat tracks here, as we get a little bit of a battle for first place with Patrick Colby into turn 1. Down on the inside of the 92 of Tony Hilbrand's out of turn 2, though. Tony able to stay out on top here, but only just by a little bit here. I'm sure Patrick Colby is going to build up some more momentum here and try to make that pass here happen very shortly. Benny Hogan, meanwhile, just behind these drivers with Howie Briss. He's trying to get his way back up here into that top three, where he just was battling for that lead spot. Sean Williams as well, the 89 driver in that 5th place spot, trying to also get up into the mix here. Starting to see quite the pack develop up here for the lead here on lap 132. Last time that Tony won a race here for the 2022 VRL Cup Series was at North Wilkesboro. 200 laps that we did there, and he led 66 of those laps there in North Wilkesboro. Kind of a similar deal here to New Hampshire, flat, short oval, and Tony definitely showing that this might be one of his strengths here, here in the VRL Cup Series, and right now having led quite, well, I would say practically the majority of this race now at this point. You know, it's going to be looking pretty confident at this point in time, but again, we still have one or two pit stops left before we see that checkered flag fly here tonight. But Tony off to a really good start here at this point in time. Patrick Colby, Howie Briss, Benny Hogan, Sean Williams, all up here in our top 5 with Tony Hilbrand's leading still at this moment. We've got a couple drivers moving in, well, having some small moments here towards the midfield, but for the most part, most of our drivers are going to be kind of in their lonesome, finding themselves in their own little spot on the racetrack, not really being bothered by too much at this point in time. So you can either take that as a blessing, or you know what, maybe you just didn't have the race that you were looking for here today. But either way, either how, we're still clicking off green laps. Appears that we are going to go past that mark that I was kind of worried about for pit strategies. Again, it was 75 to 90 laps for our fuel window here in tonight's race, but again with tire wear that might change a little bit by a few laps, give or take. But again, we really won't know here until these drivers make their way down into pit lane. Whenever that decision is made here, it looks like Benny Hogan, the number 5 Valvoline car, going to be the first in the top 5 to make that decision happen here. Lap 139 of 200. That is going to be the start of the the start of the end of the pit strategies here today. Benny Hogan now going to be making his way back out onto the track. And I almost have a feeling that now that he's made his way down in early, and look at this, he's back up here. Well, unfortunately going to be down a lap at this time, but now he's also going to be ahead of these drivers once they decide to make their way down into pit lane. So for Benny Hogan, this strategy just might play out in his favor here. Lovell making his way in and out of pit road here as well. Already see the difference in pace of those fresher tires here on the number 5 of Benny Hogan. He is just passing these drivers like it is nobody's business down on the inside and around Tony Hilbrandt's. It's almost effortless, and that's the difference that about, well, we'll say about 65 laps will do for you. Now the question is, who is going to be the next driver here in this pack to decide to come down the pits? And I almost wonder if it's all going to be based on when Tony Hilbrandt's decides to come down, and all of these drivers behind him are all just kind of waiting for that 92 to make his win, because all of these drivers are on the same fuel, the same tires that they all were given on lap 85 when they came down into pit road. Here in that 9th place spot. He's got Jaden Hopp just ahead of him at this point in time, and Jaden, if you'll remember, getting that black flag earlier on in the race, he's up here into that 8th place spot right now, so just kind of slowly chipping away at those positions here, trying to get his way back up as much of the field as he can as Max Neuwirth. A little bit of trouble there out of turn 2, but Neuwirth able to keep it together in that 66 machine. Top 4 right now, all these drivers single file, practically the majority of our field. Again, all of these guys going to have quite a bit of distance separating themselves here at this moment, and really until we see these drivers up in the lead cycle their way down through the pits, I don't think a whole lot's going to change here. And for Benny Hogan, I mean, you're almost just waiting for that time to come. Because, like I said, once the rest of the field makes their way down into the pits, Benny Hogan's going to be the driver that is going to be on top of it all. he is going to be the one probably out in front with Nicholas Lovell just behind him. And when I say just behind, he's actually just about 13 seconds behind Benny Hogan at this time. So, I mean, there's quite a distance separating these two drivers. But for everyone that's in that top 5 right now, things could change for these guys here very quickly. Dear. Patrick Colby. Oh no, the number 9 machine. A little bit of trouble here for Patrick. Let's see exactly what happened here for the number 9 car. Through turn 3, through 4. Oh wow. Okay, so it looks like he was trying to slow down to get down into pit lane. Looks like Logan Jones might have possibly gave him a little bit of a tap there into the rear end. Lap 151 of 200, and for Benny Hogan, man, I don't think that is what he wanted to see here, because now the rest of the field coming down into the pits, going to get that fresh set of tires, some fuel. That is going to be the last time that they need to come down into the pits for any reason. Actually, it looks like Benny Hogan now, it's worked out for him. He's going to stay out because, again, he came in lap 138. There's no reason that he needs to come down into the pits, at least as far as I know. He should be able to go all the way until the end. Here now as the rest of the field make their way out onto the track now here for the 4th restart of the night here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Magic Mile 200. Lap 153 of 200 here. Benny Hogan, Howie Brisk going to be in our front row. Tony Hillbrand's Logan Jones in our second row here. Sean Williams and Scott Shire in our third row. Now, for Tony Hillbrand's, again, this isn't what he wants to see here. Tony has been leading the majority of this race here tonight, and man, really hasn't seen a whole lot of competition around him up until this point. And now all of a sudden he has to fight his way back up here into the lead. But for Benny Hogan, I mean, like I said earlier, if taking that undercut strategy, sometimes it works out in your favor, and in this case I think he couldn't have played it out any better for himself. So hopefully it works out for him all the way until the end. These drivers around him going to have a little bit newer tires, but not by much. We're going to see how much that's going to play into effect here as we enter our final about 45 laps here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Base car is in. Green flag drops and away we go. Benny Hogan with the great launch here. Tony Hillbrand's trying to get down onto the inside of Howie Brisk into turn 1. Now he's going to have to try and keep up that momentum through 1 and 2, out onto the back straightaway to be able to hold on to that second place spot. He does. Very good work there from the 97 driver. Championship leader showing that he knows exactly what he's doing and why he is the championship leader at this point in time in the season. As we look at Logan Jones, Patrick Colby side by side here. Logan Jones getting a little bit unsteady there through turn 1 and out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. We're stable back out here. Back up front, Benny Hogan, Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrand's all getting very stacked up here for the top 3. Howie trying to find some room down on the inside of the 5 Valvoline car. Tony Hillbrand's as well, just trying to keep up in the mix here, trying to find any room he can as well. Fighting some of the dirty air coming out of turn 2. Into turn 3, Tony able to get down onto the inside of Benny Hogan. That's going to push Benny back into third now as we're on the back straightaway, going into turn 1 once again. Patrick Colby, a little bit of a tap there to Sean Williams through turn 1 and out of turn 2. Nothing coming of it though. That was very close contact there for both drivers. Jaden Hopp as well up here, pushing up into the top 5 here. The 81 machine having a very, very hard fought battle from the tail end of the field. He's up here, back up into the top 5 now. We continue to look along here with Logan Jones, Patrick Colby duking it out almost side by side here. You can also see the Fox number 4 machine of Scott Shire starting to get up here into the mix as well. Kind of a few different battles starting to form up here. Here's Benny Hogan. It looks like Benny no longer leading this race. It's Tony Hillbrand's Howie Briss now fighting for the lead, and Howie looking to possibly add on another win to his season here. Benny Hogan, after leading a few laps here, now trying to duke it out side by side here with Patrick Colby. And folks, I mean, like I was saying a little bit earlier, when you're on these flat tracks, being on that outside line, it's very, very tough. You are almost never going to be able to keep up and be able to keep your spot. You're almost always going to have to give up that position and try again. Caution is out. Scott Shire seemingly having a little bit of trouble here out of turn 2. Let's go back and see what happened here for the number 4 driver. Oh man, a little bit of a tap here to Benny Hogan. So not the only driver involved in this one. Benny Hogan as well. The 4 and the 5 machine both getting involved into a little bit of a scuffle here out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway, but luckily, seemingly both drivers able to make their way back out onto the racetrack and continue on with the final, what is about to be 35 laps left to go here for the Magic Mile 200 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Tony Hilbrand's trying to fake out some of the field here. Some of the drivers going to come down anyway, make what will be their final pit stop of the race. Only 35 laps left to go. There is not a whole lot of racing left to do here out of the 200 lap set. Again, we will be completing here once things are all said and done. I believe just a couple more laps before we see that pace car make its way back in for hopefully what will be last time here tonight. So the lights are off on the pace car. So once we come back out of turn 4 next time around, the green flag will drop and we will have just over 30 laps left to go in tonight's race here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Magic Mile 200 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Pace car is back in. The green flag drops as we go through the Geico restart zone, and Howie Briss not taking any time at all here on this restart. Launching his way into turn 1 with just over a quarter of a second gap between second and third place drivers Tony Hilbrand and Sean Williams. They do get out side by side coming out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. A couple drivers scraping the wall. Out on the back straight here, but oh man, Benny Hogan oh no, not again. Benny Hogan finding himself in yet another collision here. This will be our 6th caution of the race here today. Field gonna have to get themselves re-racked and restacked yet again here. Unfortunate way to bring out a caution here. But with that in mind, folks, we're going to go ahead and take our last commercial break here of the night. When we come back, we will have more green flag racing here on Team Goon Squad. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere for more iRacing right here on TGS. Welcome back, race fans. We are about to come back across the line here. I believe. Yep, the lights do go off. So, again, once we come out of turn 4 and into the Geico restart zone, we'll go back to green flag racing here once again here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This time it's Howie Briss, Tony Hilbrand's in your front row. Charles Jurek, Sean Williams in your second row. Matthew Fitz and James Koulibaly in our third row here as we get closer to 25 laps left to go here. Pace car is in and the green flag drops as we go through the Geico restart zone. Howie Briss doing all that he can here to get himself a nice gap between himself and the rest of the field. We're already 3 wide though through turn 1. Couple bings and bangs here. The 69 Matthew Fitz getting himself right in between the middle of James Miller, Charles Jurek. Out of turn 2, keeping it together. You also see Jaden Hop back there out of turn 2. Onto the back straightaway, getting a little bit wobbly there, but keeping it together. Meanwhile, we're getting back to that triple side-by-side action that we saw here, up here in the midfield. Oh, we're beating and banging and scraping here. The number 9, James Koulibaly as well. The 22 machine getting involved with that one. The number 9 machine, who I was looking for originally, Patrick Colby. The one getting the worst end of it seemed like. Yeah, James Koulibaly getting a little bit unstable there. Gets into the side of Patrick Colby, and from there it only gets worse. Oh, you know what? A caution never goes by without the drivers in the lead trying to fake everyone out and go down into pit lane here without any real reason to. There we see it in the top left-hand side of your screen. The 25 laps left to go here tonight. As the lights go off on the pace car, 23 laps left to go. It'll be 22 once we get back out of turn 4 and cross the checkered line. So drivers are only going to have just this short amount of time left to pull off what they can here going into the final 20 laps of the race here tonight. Tony Hillbrands, he's going to have to pull off a restart here this time to hopefully put himself at least side by side with Howie Briss and give him that competition that he needs, but he's also got to wait until that 97 car starts as we go into the Geico restart zone, and away we go. Let's see if any driver is going to have any sort of mishaps this time around as we come through turn 1, through 2, and out onto the back straightaway here. Everyone looking calm and steady. Heading into turn 3, you can see Tony Hillbrand's already right on the bumper of the 97 of Howie Briss here. As we look out the rear view of the 97 car, Tony Hillbrands right now at this point. Tony making that dive down onto the inside, onto the back straightaway. Couple drivers scraping the wall out of 2 there. But ultimately the battle is here for the lead right now. Oh man, Tony getting a little bit too wobbly there out of turn 4. The 09, James Miller, able to capitalize on that one. That almost looked pretty close there from Tony Hillbrands. It looked like he was about to wash up into the 89 of Sean Williams. Keeping it green and clean though. We're coming out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. Hillbrands, Sean Williams, both going to be side by side almost for a moment there, but James Miller trying to find an opportunity on the inside of the 97 of Howie Briss here with 20 laps left to go. We also see more side-by-side action happening here between Charles Jurek, Jaden Hobb. Trying to catch all the action that we can see here. You also see the Valvoline number 5, Benny Hogan. After seeing, I think, a couple collisions here already tonight, still out here clicking laps, just trying to do everything in his power at this point. Tony Hillbrand, after leading so many of these laps here tonight and falling back into third right now. I mean, it's a real tough break, but I think for Tony, he's had a really incredible run here tonight, and to be able to come away with a podium, nothing to shrug at. So, great thing for Tony to be able to keep up here in the podium. That's going to definitely add on to his points for the championship. He's sitting in that 5th place spot at this moment, so hopefully that'll give him a nice boost going into next week's race. Next week's race, we will be at Hogan for Pocono 250. So make sure you get subscribed and tune in for that action next week, same time, same place, right here. Team News. Look at this, the battle for the lead starting to get relatively speeded up here. 15 laps left to go. James Miller, Howie Briss, both door-to-door between each other. James Miller starting to get a little unsettled there. Through turn 2, out onto the back straightaway. He's going to fall right behind the 97, right on the bumper. Heading into turn 3, let's see what he's got this time around. But Tony Hillbrand, seeing these two duke it out, he's going to take advantage of that. Getting right up close to the bumper of the 09 of James Miller here. He's going to get stacked right back up here in this top 3 battle. Looks like he backed off there just a little bit, possibly. I think it was due to the fact he was catching up to James Miller relatively quickly there. He might have had to slow down quite a lot, which is why we're seeing him back up here so much at this time. And now Jaden Hobb, also a driver that's seen, hasn't had the best race here. Well, I say that, but he's back up here into 3rd now as he makes that pass around Tony Hillbrand. If you haven't tuned in for, if you're just now tuning in, actually, Jaden Hobb received a black flag towards the beginning of the race during the first caution for jumping the start, and now he's back up here in 3rd after just slowly working his way up through the field from the back. Now up here and looking at possibly a podium here tonight. It's a great thing for Jaden, getting back up here and just staying consistent, staying clean, and trying to click off as many laps as he possibly can. And now he's up here battling for the lead. And James Miller, speaking of which, the 09 machine successfully making his way around up here into first place around the championship leader, Howie Briss. With only 12 laps left to go here, folks. This could be anyone's race here tonight. James Miller is going to be looking to make it his race here tonight, as he'll make it his 2nd win of the season here tonight. Or for Howie Briss, a 2nd win for him as well. Jaden Hobb with the pass around Howie Briss. Jaden, you know, coming in, his last pit stop was lap 169. So for the rest of the drivers around him, I mean, he's on slightly fresher, newer tires. And that pace it's definitely showing to be working in his favor right now. There's still more battles happening out on track right now. We've seen Lovell, Benny Hogan, a couple drivers that we've seen duke it out quite often here tonight. And really these drivers right here in this group that we're looking at right now, all of them have kind of all been in the same group or near each other for practically the entirety of this race. And it really kept the racing really interesting. Here tonight, you know, we've seen a lot of drivers try some really daring maneuvers, and you've seen a lot of drivers just play really safe and just try and click off laps here as smoothly as they possibly can. James Miller right now with only 7 laps to go as we cross the checkered line. Jaden Hopp just behind him at this moment. You know, Jaden Hopp has had quite the race here tonight, and I think for the 81 car, you know, it would be a really great thing to come away with a win after having to go all the way to the tail end of the field and basically start over again. I mean, that is just one heck of a feat and a very tough one at that. Here we're seeing Charles Jurek, Benny Hogan side by side here into turn 1. Oh, a little bit of contact there between the two drivers. Keeping it clean though as much as possible. Oh, looks like a little bit of tire smoke happening up ahead of these drivers here. Sean Williams, alongside with Tony Hilbrand's there for just a moment as we cross the line. It's 5 laps left to go. The clock is ticking. There's not much time left. Does anyone have anything left in the tank or up their sleeve left to pull out of their hat of tricks here tonight? I'm not so certain that there will be much happening for the lead. Right now, it's only James Miller and Jaden Hopp duking it out side by side, but right here in the midfield, that's where things start to get real interesting. Tony Hilbrand's, after falling out of that lead pack, he's up here. He's in 4th place right now and kind of leading this pack of drivers right now as we come across the line. 3 laps left to go. Lovell, Charles Jurek, both side by side here, as well as Sean Williams, Benny Hogan. Going to be some close finishes between these drivers here as we come across the line with 2 laps left to go here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Magic Mile 200. The 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series, the 81, Jaden Hopp. A little bit of a slide there. I don't think that is going to help him in any way, shape, or form to try and reel in James Miller here, but maybe he's got something left that we have yet to see, but I don't know. Max Newworth, the 66 driver, having a little bit of a moment here, it seemed like, just ahead of the leaders, but across the line we go. The white flag is out. This will be the last lap that we see here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as we come down the back straightaway. Through turns 3 and 4, out onto the front stretch. James Miller, Jaden Hopp going to take away that first and second place spot here. Oh, Benny Hogan, Sean Williams. Man, oh man, that was quite the finish between those two drivers. Only 0.02 of a second separating Benny Hogan and Sean Williams here in this race here tonight. Great work from those two drivers. But that's going to be the end of our race here today as the rest of our drivers make their way across the line here tonight. We're going to go ahead and get ready for our post-race interviews as the race results are available on your screen right now. We're going to go ahead and get ready and pull our drivers in for their interviews here today. And first up is going to be Howie Briss, the number 97 driver, up here in the booth here today. Howie, welcome up here to the booth. I've only got time for one question for our drivers here tonight, unfortunately, but the one question that I want to have for you here tonight, Howie, we've seen you kind of duking it out with a few different drivers. I mean, we've seen Benny Hogan up there. We've seen Tony Hilbrand's up there. We even seen Jaden Hopp, who received a black flag towards the beginning portion of this race here, but was able to get back up there into the top 3 and come away with a podium here tonight. But Howie, I mean, currently leading the championship still, just staying consistent, pulling off podiums, pulling off top 5, top 10s, wherever you find yourself. Howie, you've had an incredible season here, and coming here tonight, showing your dominance here on these flat tracks. I mean, kind of how are you feeling right now?
I felt like I blew that one away, but it is what it is. I mean, they had fresher tires, I didn't, but yeah, I felt this was probably the most comfortable I was towards the end. I didn't feel comfortable like in the beginning because I just had no drive off, and then later on in the race, the car started to come to me. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do and everything, but yeah, I mean, I felt like I had a good night. And then the only reason why I ran over Patrick is because he didn't tell me that he was pinned, and he thought, I thought you were going to be a little bit higher, and I'm like, don't beat yourself up. I mean, he didn't tell me whatsoever, but after that, I just got the lead and just kind of ran away with it for a little bit, and then I tried to race James, which good win for him, so.
Yeah, and James Miller definitely came out of nowhere there, it seems like, kind of towards the end, just playing his cards right, being patient. And I mean, really at these flat tracks, I think patience is the real key. Just being consistent, just being patient, and just waiting for your opportunities to come. But Howie, you did a phenomenal job here tonight, and hopefully going next week into Pocono, one of those tracks that I know you either love it or you hate it sort of deals, I feel, amongst most drivers. But Howie, again, incredible job here tonight. But before I let you go, is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you go tonight?
RTR, Ryan Torbenson Racing, they were rooting for me. Grandmother and granddad upstairs watching it. They're actually upstairs watching it, I kid you not. I did get a little bit of crap for that last week. Mom and dad, Aunt Stephanie, everyone that supports the 97 machine. We'll try and get it back next week.
Absolutely. Well, good run here tonight, Howie, and hopefully next week we get to have a similar conversation at Pocono.
Yeah, hopefully we do.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Howie.
Yep, you too.
Alrighty, folks, that was Howie Briss out of the booth here tonight. Up next is the driver, really, that I'm the most curious to talk to here tonight, Jaden Hopp. Starting out very well at the beginning of the race, receiving a black flag after, I think, the first caution, and having to start at the very tail end of the field, working his way back up here into second place, coming home with a podium here tonight. Jaden, how are you feeling right now, my sir?
Feeling pretty good after the race ended, and I was able to recover from the black flag.
Yeah, and I mean, that's always a tough thing to do, and especially at tracks like New Hampshire, where you just flat tracks, not a whole lot of banking to work with. Everyone's kind of getting a little bit loose, a little loosey-goosey here and there, especially out of turns 2. I noticed is where A lot of drivers were struggling, kind of just keeping it straight coming out of that turn there, out of turn 2. But Jaden, you did a phenomenal job again, like you said yourself, just keeping it consistent, keeping clean, and just working your way slowly but surely through this field here. And I mean, frankly, I think given how early that black flag was given to you, you were kind of put in a pretty decent position to be able to just kind of keep your head down and just click off laps and stay green here. But Jaden, unfortunately, I only have time for one questions here tonight, so we're going to kind of wrap things up a little bit quickly here. But Jaden, before I let you go, is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone that you want to shout out and thank for your success here tonight and for your season thus far?
Just as always, you and Tony for putting on a good broadcast and putting on a good week as always.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for joining me up here in the booth tonight. I know it's a little shorter than usual, but running a little bit short on time here today. But Jaden, thank you again for joining me up here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Pocono, and hopefully we get to see a little bit better run next time. Hopefully no black flags for the 81 machine tonight or next week.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, Jaden. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks, that is Jaden Hopp, the number 81 machine, out of the booth here tonight. Last and certainly is not going to be least, James Miller, the 09 machine, coming home with the win here. And really, the 09 car just kind of keeping your head down low there, James. Just clicking off laps and staying steady. But the one thing that I did notice towards the end there, you had slightly fresher tires than a little bit of the field around you. Jaden Hopp, the only exception there with actually fresher tires than yourself. But James, I mean, what was kind of your strategy going into the night? It definitely seemed like you were kind of saving things until the end, and you seemed to place yourself in a good spot to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, it all worked out, but that strategy changed so much throughout the race. I didn't really come into it, you know, with a clear plan. I didn't even know how long we could go on fuel. Just kind of go right by the seat of my pants. And you never know at a short track how many cautions it was. And this race was like green flag forever. But I guess it was about halfway through it. I jumped the restart out of Zerva pass through, and I thought it was over there because we were going green forever. I was ready just to park it. I was tired. I was not mentally there anymore. And then a caution comes out. I take the wave around. Caution comes out. I got fresh tires. And then we just kept picking off people off the start. Caution would come out, and just lined up fourth there on that final restart, and just had to hit my marks. But Jaden put up a hell of a fight near the end. I was definitely worried, but I still had the confidence that as long as I hit my marks, I'd be fine there.
Yeah, this was an interesting race here, and definitely there at the end, it was getting pretty heated up between yourself and Jaden Hopp. It was pretty exciting watching that action starting to unfold. But James, unfortunately, I only have time for one question here tonight. I kind of got to wrap things up here a little quickly. But James, you and yourself and the rest of the field did a incredible job here tonight, even with the cautions that we had. I mean, it was really great racing, and for yourself, I mean, like you said, the strategy kept changing throughout the race, but ultimately it put yourself on the top of the podium with a win here tonight at New Hampshire, a track, again, just like any other flat track. Not an easy one to come away with a win for, so great thing for the 09 car, great thing for yourself and the season standings. I know you're not exactly up there competing for championship right now, but you're in 9th place at this time, but I'm sure after points are updated here, that'll change. But James, congratulations here, and before I let you go, is there anyone watching the broadcast or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before we go tonight?
Yeah, just thanks to Team AV for the rocket ships every week. Sometimes I could drive them, sometimes I can't, but they sure are fast. And shout out to everyone who's tuned into the stream to watch us do an amazing race. These guys are great. I love racing this league. There's so much skill. You can just lean on a guy so much, and with trust, you know, and not wreck the whole field kind of thing. But and then thank you to you for broadcasting it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you once again, James, for coming up here and talking with me. And congratulations on your win, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Pocono.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good one. Alrighty, folks, that is James Miller, the winner of tonight's race, the 09 machine coming home with the podium. That is going to conclude our coverage here tonight of the Magic Mile 200 for the 2022 Velocity Racing League Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Thank you all once again for watching, and I will see you all next week, same time and same place for the Pocono 250. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.